Testing, testing, 1 2 1 2. Test one. Alright, perfect. We got it there. Awesome. Hello everyone, I am your host, Sidonian Muse. Welcome to Race 4 of our very first season of NACS, North American Circuit Series Racing, here on F120 Free, where we race with no assists every Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tonight, for the fourth race of our season, we're racing at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, here in the beautiful country of Spain. And tonight, we are doing our first sprint race of the season. So we're starting off with a one-shot qualifying to set the grid for the sprint. We're doing a sprint race, and then the finishing order in the sprint will be the order that people start in for the full race. So it should be very exciting tonight. And as always, we always have dynamic weather on as well, so there could be some interesting turns in the weather. Or not. It could stay dry the entire time. We don't know. I don't even know. I'll have to wait and see. I think we have like 11, 12 guys here tonight. I'll be able to do a run through the guys after the one-shot quali. The one-shot quali is going to be pretty just fast. Just going to be very rapid. Not going to have a ton of time to run through everyone. But once the one-shot quali is over, we'll run through everyone who's here tonight for our sprint and our full race. And we'll run a few minutes behind, so we're just diving right into this, it looks like. And here we go, into the one-shot qualifying now. We're going to take a look here, get our data open. As we look at Crispy Crunch here in the Haas, coming into turn 1. Let's see, Vodka Victory. Currently fastest on the sheet here now, going into turn 1, but Druply takes it away from him. But there comes Black Stappen, Mr. Smoke himself, in the Red Bull, moves his way up there now. Crispy Crunch, though, at the top there with Vodka Victory, and the two Red Bulls wedged in between them there, it looks like. Oh, but Vodka Victory loses a lot of time there now. Now both Red Bulls are up near the top with Crispy Crunch, and Chris in the Ferrari makes a little jump up there now, all the way up to the top there, coming around the end of Sector 1 Bull, but he nearly loses his rear end twice there. Oh! And, oh, God, Chris having some connection issues there, too. It looked like he was gonna lag there completely and just and lose it. So now he's fallen all the way down to 7th. Unfortunate for Chris. He just lost so much time there. That's going to start him not in a great position for the sprint, it looks like. Now, Druply in the Alfa Romeo, and Pete the Newfie now up to 2 fastest with Crispy Crunch and Smoke. Going into the final sector here now, Pete the Newfie and Druply both on some pretty solid laps here. Just got 2 final corners to get around. Will Druply get pole for the sprint race? Or will it be Pete the Newfie as they cross the line? And there you go, Pete the Newfie, by less than a tenth, takes pole position for the sprint away from Druply in the Alfa Romeo. These two guys who are currently in the title fight right now with Vodka Victory. There we go, so our front row. We have Pete the Newfie and Druply starting on the front row. Look at that, 112.6, 112.6. And then not too far behind me had Crispy Crunch, 112.7 in the Haas. All 3 of them super close there. Followed by Vodka Victory, who's also going to be starting on the second row with Crispy Crunch. Who might be half a second off, but very consistent driver. If other people make mistakes over the course of the race, he will capitalize on them. Followed by Crunch's teammate there, Zoom Zoom, in the Haas, who also did pretty solid there, starting 5th with Great Ace in 6th, Slingshot 7th with Chris in 8th, his teammate Rilio in 9th, and unfortunately, it looks like Smoke was having really good pace there, but it looks like Smoke invalidated there, unfortunately. That is really unfortunate. Unfortunately, Smoke invalidated. He was up there, he was in the top 4 the entire time with his teammate. But he just happened to invalidate, I guess, going into that final sector, and that cost him everything. So unfortunately, Smoke is going to be starting from the very back. I saw Tyrain in the McLaren there. He's one of our new guys left. He must not feel confident enough to race tonight. That's A-okay. Hopefully we'll see him with us at our following race 2 weeks from now at Suzuka, where I believe his teammate Benzo will also be showing up. So hopefully we'll see, you know, we'll see a good race from the McLaren guys at Suzuka. But looks like he's going to dip out for tonight, so we got 10 drivers tonight, it looks like. 10 super solid drivers. Even Smoke, unfortunately, validated. So like I said, he's going to start from the back, but even he was flying there. So he will start from the back with the Ferraris. Once we get going into the sprint, we're just giving some time now for people to get their setup ready for the sprint race. And we'll get things underway. Give us 1 minute, folks, and we'll get this sprint race underway. Here we go. Let's see what everyone's rocking here now. Most people opting to start on the softs for the for this 11-lap sprint. We do have Crispy Crunch and Slingshot opting for the yellows, though. That could come in clutch for them, because technically the game says that you can take the softs or the yellows the 11 laps, but these softs could start waning near the end. It could allow for these two guys on the yellows to gain some positions, so we'll have to wait and see. It says Tyron, the McLaren, is still out on track, but I thought it said he left the session. Yeah, that's an AI. That is a ghosted AI driver. So yeah, so technically we got 10 drivers right now. Smoke, like I said, behind the 2 Ferraris. And it's all shook up here, which is awesome. Pete and Drupely on the front row, gonna be duking it out. Should be pretty awesome. Here we go. The guys are just coming around the final corner here now. Going to line up. And we'll get this sprint race underway. Just going to be non-stop sprint this entire 11 laps. Unless someone takes some wing damage and they feel like they need to pit and fix that. Because Chris looked fast in that sprint in that one shot as well, but he did look a little shaky. That's what cost him. And it's lights out and away we go. Here in Barcelona. Pete the Newfie coming up on the front row with Drupely and Crispy Crunch not too far behind. If EA could give me some good camera angles, that'd be awesome. Thanks. There we go. Pete the Newfie takes the lead from the Alfa Romeo and the Haas. Haas moves up ahead of Drupely. Crispy Crunch into second. Chris in the Ferrari taking a huge lead up into 5th now. Going wheel to wheel with the Haas of Zoom Zoom. But he's looking to get past. There he goes up for going into the corner with the Alfa Romeo now. Just right behind the Haas of Crispy Crunch. Pete the Newfie still holding the lead at the moment. Here we go. We see here both Both Aston Martins lined up together now, 6th and 7th. Vodka has fallen down a little bit now into 6th. Smoke has moved his way up into 8th here. All of these cars all converging at once here at the moment. They go wheel to wheel. Zoom Zoom goes a bit wide though in the Haas. That is going to severely cost him. It's going to allow Zoom Zoom and going to allow Smoke and Great Ace to move up to 6th and 7th there. Zoom Zoom now down into 8th, having a bit of a rough one. And he has the pressure from the Alfa Romeo of Slingshot, not too far behind there. Rilio in the back there with the ghosted Tyrain AI. Pete still leading. There we go. Zoom Zoom has lost that position now to Slingshot, down in 9th. Had a bit of a rough start. Vodka has now recovered a little bit as well, going up into 5th, but he does have the pressure from Blackstappen behind him in the Red Bull. Not too far behind. Got a little bit of glitch splits here. Intervals right now because EA sucks. But now, Zoom Zoom's made a huge error though. Messed up a little bit though. He's still in it, but he is now at the back behind Rilio. But it's only the sprint, so even if you mess up in the sprint, you can still recover and have a good solid race. That's the good thing. But now Druply has fallen back into 4th, Chris still in 3rd. Wish these intervals would not be so glitchy. I don't see if there's any way I can fix them. It doesn't look like it. It's just EA being EA. Being stupid. You love to see it. Crispy Crunch is keeping up with Pete, even though he is on the slower tire. He's looking pretty solid in that Haas right now. With Chris right behind in the Ferrari. Exchanging fastest laps. Vodka Victory takes fast lap for the moment, 114.6. All of their laps pretty similar in time, though. Chris is going to go for it on the Haas of Crispy Crunch here into turn 1. Wheel-to-wheel action between the Ferrari and the Haas. But Chris manages to take the position away from him on the faster tires, on the softs. Moves up into 2nd, but now they're going wheel-to-wheel once again. Oh, they bump heads there for a second. But Chris still holding the lead over the Haas. Chris wants to get past him, get free of Crunch so he can go toe-to-toe with Pete the Newfie for the win of this sprint race. But he's going to have to keep it together if he wants to do that. Crispy Crunch, though, now is going to have DRS on Chris, though, coming into this corner. But he's going to still be a little too far back to go for anything there. On the come up to sector 3. Meanwhile, behind Druply, we got the 2 Aston Martins and Smoke still all together at the moment. Meanwhile, Zoom Zoom at the back is starting to gain time on Rilio. He is catching him as you can see there. Huge DRS train, like I said, though, between these 3 cars right now. They're all catching up to Druply. They're all staying behind Druply at the moment, getting towed along. And Vodka Victory here looks like he's waiting for his moment to get past the Alfa Romeo. Vodka setting a purple sector 1 there, apparently, according to what the game is telling me. Crazy enough. But they're all still stuck behind Druply at the moment, who is a second and a half behind the top 3 guys. Even with DRS. Oh, Vodka looking for an opportunity to get past Druply. Oh, they go side by side there because Druply goes a little wide. The Vodka Victory. Oh, they touch. The Alfa Romeo and the Aston Martin touch there for a second. Druply got his elbows out. But Vodka still takes the position. Takes 4th away from Druply. Chris takes fastest lap from Vodka by 1/10 with the 114.5. And now Druply's losing positions to Smoke and almost to Great Ace as well. Great Ace right behind him at the same time. But meanwhile, jumping up ahead, we got Pete the Newfie, who just lost lead of the race to Chris there. And Zoom Zoom finally gets past Rilio. Here we go. Pete is now sandwiched between the Ferrari and the Haas. He's lost the lead to Chris. Chris is running fairly fast right now. Like I said, he was a 10 faster than Vodka there on that previous lap. Pete with 48, but Chris has almost used all of his ERS now, though, so that is good news for Pete. and for Crispy Crunch, who both still have half their ERS, and Chris messes up. Chris makes an error there, goes off track. So that's going to allow Pete to retake lead of the race again, but Crispy Crunch is going to be hot on his heels. Looking for a sick move there. Down the right side of Pete the Newfie. But unfortunately, it still doesn't work out there. Regardless of how cool it was. Still doesn't work out there for him just yet. He is going to have another DRS zone coming up here, though. And these yellows are definitely going to be faster on those last couple of laps of the sprint. Chris does pick up a 3-second time penalty there for multiple warnings, so you can tell he's really pushing his Ferrari as fast as he can in true like Charles Leclerc fashion. And there we go, Crispy Crunch using that DRS to get ahead of Pete the Newfie there. Takes lead of the race once more. Oh, but Pete in the Red Bull, no! No, Pete loses it. Crispy Crunch gets past Pete the Newfie. Pete loses it coming around the sweeping right-hander, and that is going to be a safety car. With Crispy Crunch at the lead for the restart. Chris in second with the 3-second time penalty, and then Vodka and Smoke. Wow, so Pete the Newfie is out of the sprint race. So he has lost the chance to gain some points there. He could have got like 7 or 8 points there from that sprint race. But unfortunately, Pete lost traction. He might have got some dirty air there from Crunch. But that's going to be it. So Pete the Newfie will start the full race from the back of the grid, I'm afraid. And it's going to be a safety car for at least a couple laps here. So we'll see here now. Will these guys on the yellows, what are they going to do? Slingshot and Crunch, what will they do? Is Crunch just going to stay out on these yellows? Is anyone else going to pit for a second set of softs? Like what? Or is everyone just going to stay out? Crunch is staying out. Looks like most people are staying out, but Smoke, aka Blackstappen, in the Red Bull, is pitting. He's come out on a fresher set of tires for the restart. Same thing with Slingshot and the Alfa Romeo. And so is Zoom Zoom in the Haas. He is also coming in. But yeah, as expected, there you go. Okay, they're all caught up behind the safety car now. Perfect. But yeah, as expected, you could tell that oh, it goes over the grass. What is Great Ace doing? He's mowing some grass there for some reason. What is Great Ace doing? He just wanted to mow some grass, I guess. But he gave the position back to his teammate. But yeah, so unfortunately Pete caught some dirty air there from Crispy Crunch when Crispy Crunch got past him, and that caused Pete to lose control of his car on that sweeping right, and his tire, his right tire just popped right off. Like it was nothing. Crazy. But yet we saw so many people hit the walls and everything at Baku and no one's tires popped off. But yet right there, the tire just pops off instantly. Crazy stuff. Super unlucky for Pete. He was looking so fast, looking so good tonight here in the sprint race. But unfortunately now he's going to have to do a massive recovery drive and try to recover from the very back of the grid. Like I said, he's going to be starting all the way from the back of the grid in 10th position. All the way from the back in 10th. So he's going to have his work cut out for him. Safety car still not in. It's going to stay out for at least one more lap. And Crispy Crunch will be leading the restart with Chris and Vodka and Drooply right behind. As you can see here, Smoke now in 6th. He's out. Same thing with Slingshot. He is out on a fresh set of softs. So we could see Smoke and Slingshot potentially do some damage to some of these guys on these last 3 laps or so of the sprint race. We'll see how that goes. Like I said, zoom. So we have 9 drivers left in the sprint right now. Top 8 get points for the sprint, so if Zoom Zoom wants to get that extra point for Haas, he's going to have to get past Aurelio. But fortunately, he is on fresh soft, so he's going to be able to have a quick go at Aurelio and try to move up. Fortunately for him, so only one of these guys is not going to get any points from the sprint. Now that Pete has DNF'd. But just such a super unfortunate for the Red Bull team. I mean, we had Vodka DNF the full race at Baku last week. So, I mean, if you're going to DNF, you never want to DNF. But if you're going to DNF, you're better off DNFing in the sprint race. Because at least then you're only missing out on 7 or 8 points. When if this was a full race, you'd be missing out on, 18, 25 points. So... Yeah, so it sucks, but it is what it is. See if, we'll have to just wait and see if Pete can bounce back. Here we go, the race is back underway. Safety car is in. Looks like Chris is going to have a go at Crunch here coming into turn 1. Right out the gate, Chris in the Ferrari makes the move, flies by the Haas of Crispy Crunch, gets through there, A-OK, absolutely no problem whatsoever. Like we predicted, Zoom Zoom moves past Aurelio right away as well, up in the 9th. Great stuff for the Haas driver. As you can see here, Smoke now in 5th ahead of Great Ace. He's on the heels of Druply in the Alfa Romeo as well, from what we can tell. And there, Zoom Zoom gets past the McLaren AI as well. And actually, technically that's an AI, so never mind. Everyone else will, as long as they cross the line, will get points from this sprint. To my knowledge. But just ahead here, we can see Vodka Victory moves ahead of Druply in the Alfa Romeo, and now the Red Bull of Blackstappen, aka Smoke. Oh, goes a little wide there, but he was trying to go at Druply, but he's still is stuck in 5th position. But Vodka does manage to get ahead of Druply, moves up to 3rd. Trying to see if he can catch up to Chris and Crunch ahead. But Chris, remember, does have that 3-second time penalty, so that is going to cost him at the end of this sprint race, especially since we just had a safety car, so everyone's all bunched up again. So that could cost him a lot of positions from the sprint. But again, he's still going to have the full race to recover from that. But here we go, Crispy Crunch looking for a move on Chris. Smoke finally manages to make it stick on Druply. Moves up to 4th in the Red Bull. Like I said, he invalidated on that one shot, but he could have... incident there from Great Ace. He makes a bit of a mistake. Falls all the way back to 8th. Huge mistake for Great Ace there. That's going to cost... that could cost Aston Martin a lot of points from the sprint. At least a few. As I was saying about Smoke. Oh, he's looking for it on the Aston Martin of Vodka Victory as well. Goes in alongside him. Whips his rear right around. Still keeping on him. But still just behind the Aston Martin. But they are starting to fall behind Chris and Crispy Crunch. Ahead though. But Smoke does still have 50% ERS going into this final lap. And he's going to have DRS as well. Or not, I guess. Because he was too close to Vodka. But here he goes. Smoke moves up into 3rd. Moves past the Aston Martin of Vodka Victory. On the final lap of his sprint. Good stuff to Mr. Blackstappen himself. Chris has now lost lead of the race to Crispy Crunch, I'm afraid. Unfortunately, he has lost lead of the race to him. But he has the 3-second time penalty anyway, so regardless, that was going to be a given, I'm afraid. That time penalty is really going to hurt Chris here. He's probably going to lose a couple other positions as well by the end of this sprint. Druply and Slingshot currently 5th and 6th in the Alfa Romeos, just behind Vodka Victory, who got passed by Smoke, who's now moved up into 3rd, but still not in DRS range of Chris, I'm afraid. But here we go, the Alfa Romeo of Druply, not too far behind. But then we also have the Haas of Zoom Zoom, who is now in 7th, just behind Slingshot, coming into the final two corners. But it looks like he's not going to get past them. Crispy Crunch is going to cross the line. Crispy Crunch is going to be the winner for your sprint race. Chris is going to get deducted 1 position due to his penalty. So that means that Pete the Newfie's teammate, Black Stappen, Black Stappen, Smoke in the Red Bull is going to start on the front row with Crispy Crunch. And he's going to secure 7 points there for the Red Bull team. Yeah, awesome drive from Smoke there, who was forced to start the sprint all the way from the back and moved himself up into 2nd. But that just goes to show that that's possible for Pete to do in the full race as well. So I'm sure we'll see Pete go for a run here in the full race. But yeah, that's a great help for the Red Bull team. It's a shame because it would have been an even greater points haul for Red Bull if Pete hadn't DNF'd. But hey, it is what it is. That's why it's nice at the race last week at Vodka, when Vodka DNF'd, his teammate Great Ace was able to pick up the slack and secure points for the team. And here you can see Smoke doing the same. So these guys got each other's back. It's awesome to see these teammates working together, help each other out when you're down. But so it will be Crispy Crunch and Smoke starting on the front row, the Haas and the Red Bull. And then it will be Chris and Vodka Victory starting on the 2nd row. In 3rd and 4th in the Ferrari and the Aston Martin. And oh my goodness, we have rain for the race. Everything gets thrown out the window. We have rain for the race, folks. I repeat, we have rain for the race. But this is when the drivers like to take a quick little 5-minute intermission, guys, before the full race. So we are going to take a quick little intermission right quick. But yeah, it looks like we are going to have some rain for this is going to be our first mixed weather race at in NACS. We have some rain. This is going to throw everything out the window. Because some of those guys, like we saw the time with Smoke and Chris, you know, they might be fast, but are they going to be able to keep it together in the wet? Who knows? This could change everything. This could change everything. But with that, folks, we will be back in a couple minutes after this quick little intermission before the full race. Alrighty, and we're back, folks, here with our full race, 33 laps here at Catalunya. And we're starting off with some rain, it looks like. We're going to get everything up here now. We're starting off with some rain. Not too heavy rain, though. Not wet tires rain, not absolute complete downpour, but we do have some light rain. So everyone is going to be starting the race on the intermediate tires. So they can get around here safe and sound until it eventually dries up. So that's what you would assume is going to happen, at least. You would assume that it might dry up from here over the course of the race, but you never know. The opposite could also happen. It could get even worse. Unfortunately, the weather report, I can't see the weather report here in the spectator commentator booth. Bit of a shitty game feature, in my opinion. You should be able to see the weather as the spectator, but I can't even tell right now what the weather report is, so I don't know if it's gonna get dry from here or wetter or what. But we're starting off on the inners. Like I said, Crispy Crunch and Smoke starting in the front row, followed by Chris and Vodka Victory, and then you have the two Alfa Romeos of Druply and Slingshot, and then you have Zoom Zoom, who managed to recover from his mistake earlier in the sprint, at least get himself up into 7th, so he got some points for Haas. And Great Ace, who was going to start in 8th because he made that huge mistake there in the sprint. So he's going to start from 8th, and then not counting the Tyrain AI, you have Rilio in 9th in the Ferrari, and Pete the Newbie starting all the way in the back in 10th in the Red Bull. Alrighty, here we go, coming around the final corner now, going to line up and get this race underway. It's going to be absolutely insane for some of these guys who aren't super consistent. This is going to be kind of crazy to try to manage what they're doing in the wet here. And it's lights out and away we go. Here we go at Circuit to Barcelona, Catalunya. Already Slingshot losing several positions, dropping down to 7th here now. Great Ace gets past him as well, so he also moves up into 8th. Not sure what happened there though. Chris and Crispy Crunch going side by side into turn 1 even though it's wet. These two have absolutely no fear, as we can see at the moment. Chris though moves up to 2nd ahead of Smoke. Crispy Crunch still holding lead of the race though at the moment. The Haas and the Ferrari going at it once again, just like we saw in the sprint. Everyone we saw also pretty close. Slingshot losing several positions here in the wet now. Great Ace goes completely off track, makes a huge error, and comes back on track almost in an unsafe way. That was a little dangerous there, Great Ace. But fortunately, Pete is able to get past him safe and sound, back up in the 7th. But now Slingshot has lost even another position. And now Slingshot is all the way down into 9th with Rilio. Now Crispy Crunch loses the lead of the race to Chris, but Chris goes way wide there, off track. And that's going to allow Crispy Crunch to retake the lead. Vodka Victory currently up into 3rd at the moment. We have Smoke here going side by side with Druply in the Alfa Romeo though, with the Haas of Zoom Zoom Man right behind. But Smoke is still going to hold the position. Druply trying to keep away from the Haas. Like I said, Pete the Newfie has already moved himself up into 7th. He's just behind the Haas of Zoom Zoom now. Another bit of an interval glitch. Looks like that happens when someone DQs, it messes with their interval, as we can tell, because this game sucks. But here we go. But Druply still behind Smoke at the moment. But all these guys getting a little spaced out now. Crispy Crunch still holding lead of the race, ahead of Chris. Can't tell how far he is because this game is super glitchy and they never fix anything in their game. Here we go, Druply still stuck between the two Red Bulls. Pete the Newfie. Oh, but Zoom Zoom messes up. Huge mistake for the Haas. Huge mistake for the Haas. Lets Great Ace and the Aston Martin go. But Zoom Zoom fortunately manages to keep out of the wall. He's still in the race. Currently in 8th. Just behind Great Ace. Smoke now just behind. Drupally loses the position. Drupally in 4th now. Both Red Bulls trying to get past the Alfa Romeo. Both Red Bulls going side by side into this corner, into the 3rd sector. Right there with Drupally in the Alfa Romeo. This is super spicy at the moment. Pete has now recovered all the way back up in the 4th already. He is excelling in these wet conditions. Though Crispy Crunch sets the fastest lap though for now. A 123.9. Air interval's getting fixed there now. Chris is still staying within a second of Crispy Crunch though. Vodka Victory trying to catch up to them now. He's gotten clear of everyone else. And is up into 3rd. But Pete the Newfie still has to worry about Drupally behind. And his teammate. And also Great Ace and Zoom Zoom are not too far behind as well. All these guys fairly close there. Zoom Zoom makes a bit of an error though. That's going to cost him a bit of time. Definitely going to cost him a bit of time there. Here we have Smoke, Black Stappin in the Red Bull. Still ahead of Great Ace. Looking to make a move on Drupally. But gets caught up between the two. It's passed by Drupally going wheel to wheel with Great Ace. Both of them leaving the room. But Great Ace does manage to get by Smoke. Moves up into 6th. Like I said, these wet conditions are rough. But now Vodka Victory is starting to catch. He's already gained half a second on Chris ahead. Which is great for him. Chris now losing time to Crunch though. Crunch also super excelling. Similar to Pete is also super excelling in these wet conditions right now. So far. But Great Ace still keeping up with Drupally ahead just behind him at the moment. And Zoom Zoom is just behind Smoke. So these two pairs staying pretty close together at the moment. So we're going to keep an eye on them for now. Great Ace has barely used any of his ERS so far. So he's going to use some now to try to keep up with Drupally. But Great Ace has gained 2 positions since the start of this race. So technically he's still doing pretty decent right now. Smoke though has had a rough start. Has dropped all the way from 2nd to 7th right now, but his teammate has gone from 10th to 4th, so in terms of the constructors, it's kind of balancing itself out a little bit. We'll see how this progresses here. Chris now losing tons of time to Crispy Crunch ahead. Oh, and Chris makes an error. He goes off track there. Actually, that's why he lost so much time, made an error. And now he's also going to have to let Pete the Newfie and the Red Bull go as well. And now Drupally is also caught up right behind him. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, so now Vodka Victory has moved himself up into 2nd. 4 seconds behind Crispy Crunch. But now he's going to have some clean air to try to catch up to the Haas on these intermediate tires. Let's take a look at the lap time difference right now, just to see. But the problem for Vodka is that Crispy Crunch is a couple tenths faster right now. You know, he's in the 123. He got the 123.9. He is a couple tenths faster a lap than Vodka, so he is slowly going to gain more time over on him. I'm afraid for Vodka Victory. I'm afraid. But Drupally now, like I said, is still behind due to Chris's error that he made. He now has to worry about Drupally and Great Ace more so than anyone who's ahead of him. But we'll see. It's still raining at the moment. The rain's still going strong. But Smoke has now lost a position to Zoom Zoom. Has dropped down to 8th. Not great. And Slingshot behind is gaining time on the Red Bull driver as well. So Smoke here not really not having a good time in these wet conditions at the moment. But Drupally is starting to gain on Chris. He wants to get past the Ferrari. But Vodka is just losing more and more time to Crispy Crunch. Currently 6 seconds behind him at the moment. Crispy Crunch is flying away in these wet conditions. Oh, but Chris in the Ferrari makes another mistake there. I could see he was sliding a little bit. So Drupally is now going to be even closer to him. Going into this straightaway here. At the start of lap 6. Druply, who won the previous race at Baku, currently in 5th, just behind Chris. He's at least trying to fight for a podium here, but again, anything could happen. It's all going to come down to the strategy with how the weather tends to go here. People are going to have to make the call on when they want to pit. Because as of right now, this rain has not stopped at all yet. It's still going. But maybe it's lessening. Maybe it's getting lighter. That's kind of what it seems to me anyway. That might be getting lighter. We'll have to wait and see. But this is what happens with intermediate tires. Unfortunately, sometimes people get really spaced out. But we're going to see here now. Grade A still keeping up with Druply, though. Like I said. Still got a ton of ERS. Still keeping up with the Alfa Romeo. Managing to stay with him. And we got Smoke here as I'm seeing here now. Who he lost that position to Zoom Zoom. But he is keeping up with him. At the very least. He is keeping up with the Haas. He's just waiting for an opportunity to get past him. Same thing with Grade Ace with Druply. Both of these drivers looking for some great opportunities to move up a position. Definitely possible. Like we said, just like in the sprint, though, Chris in the Ferrari picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Chris actually having some track limit issues here for some reason. But like we said, just like in the sprint, that is going to cost him. Especially if there's a late safety car. If there's a late safety car in this race and everyone gets bunched up near the end, oh my goodness, he's going to get super punished for that. So yeah, unfortunately, that's already on lap 7. Chris has a 3-second time penalty, and it could get even worse. He could get even more over the course of the race. But Smoke hits into the back of the Haas there. Did he not expect him to brake that early? Now he's wheel-to-wheel with Slingshot in the Alfa Romeo. What is the Red Bull driver doing? I don't know. That's an incident that might get clipped there. That might get clipped. I mean, clear as day. Oh, but Chris in the Ferrari, huge mistake. Huge mistake for the Ferrari driver. Drops all the way back to 9th. Behind Slingshot and Smoke. He's back with his teammate. He's back in 9th with his teammate in 10th. Oh my goodness. Huge errors for Chris. This has gone from bad to worse for the Ferrari team at the moment. Yellow flag in sector 3. Looks like Zoom Zoom is messed up as well. He's there on the grass. His car is still functional though. He's all good. Hasn't hit a wall. He's gotten lucky once again. But like we said, he is now going to be even behind Chris. So both Zoom Zoom and Chris making some huge errors here now. Chris looking to try to regain the position on Smoke though, it looks like. But this has allowed Slingshot to get a couple seconds clear of Smoke in the Red Bull. Chris looking to make the move on the Red Bull though, with no fear. This man is fearless, as we've seen in previous races. But he does get past Smoke there, moves back up into 7th. But yeah, huge mistake for Chris. He's going to have to recover from that now. Meanwhile, Grade A still keeping up with Druply, doing a good job. Pete is trying to catch Vodka, but Vodka is not doing a good job catching Crunch. Now 9 seconds behind Crunch. Grade A still looking to get past this Alfa Romeo. But that is a huge mistake for Chris. Ooh! Grade A recovering well there. Chris Crunch setting an even faster lap at 123.8 in these conditions. If we look at fast lap at the moment, now, yeah, he set a lap that was 1/10 faster than his previous best. So, but still, good stuff to him. Good stuff to him. But unfortunately, looks like Smoke has lost the position to Zoom Zoom once again. Zoom Zoom moves up into 8th. Everyone getting, let me see the intervals here now. Oh, here we go. Druply makes an error, though. Druply makes a mistake, which allows Grade Ace to move up into 4th. Good stuff to the Aston Martin driver. You gotta be ready to capitalize when people make mistakes like that, and he did flawlessly. Finally got past the Alfa Romeo that was holding them up for so many laps. Druply now exactly where he started the race, in 5th with his teammate Slingshot in 6th, who's recovered from his bad start. But he is going to have Chris on his back very soon in that Ferrari. I'm afraid. But meanwhile, Pete the Newfie is starting to catch to Vodka Victory at the moment. Only a second behind him now. Though the thing is, Vodka still has completely full ERS. Vodka hasn't used a tap of ERS right now. Whereas Crispy Crunch, as we can see, Vodka Victory, even though he's 10 seconds behind Crispy Crunch, Vodka Victory has not used a tap of ERS right now. Whereas Crispy Crunch has used, like 80% of his. So, Vodka Victory is just waiting for his moment to strike right now. He's waiting for this track to clear up. He's saving his ERS for when this track clears up, because this rain does appear to be getting lighter, in my opinion. From what I can tell. It does appear to be getting lighter. Pete the Newfie now is definitely caught right up to the back of Vodka Victory. He's on his heels now. Chris finally gets past Slingshot, moves himself back up into 6th position. After his terrible mistake earlier, Chris is going to be looking to regain those positions he lost earlier. But like I said, that penalty is going to hurt him at the end of this. Pete the Newfie, around Pete the Newfie though now, who's putting the pressure on Vodka Victory now. He wants to have a scrap with him. 10 laps into this race, Pete the Newfie going side by side with Vodka Victory into the corners. Here in Sector 3, but Vodka Victory still holding the position at the moment. No pit stops yet as we expected, but we can see that the weather has gone in the drier direction. This is going to be a huge moment for the race now, because Pete is on the back of Vodka Victory. So as we can see, the rain has now stopped. We do have a yellow flag in Sector 3 though. Looks like Zoom Zoom in the Haas has made another error, but he's gotten lucky once again and got off on the grass. He's going to lose the position to Smoke once again. But he's going to take it right back from him. But yeah, so far, only incident I could really see was Smoke did tap right into the back of Zoom Zoom. But oh, Zoom Zoom is retired from the session. Did he lose it on the last corner? Smoke is pit. What happened to Zoom Zoom? And that's going to be a safety car. Zoom Zoom has DNF'd it, but this is going to be the perfect opportunity for everyone to pit for their dry set of tires if they so wish, because it has now completely stopped raining. As we can see here now, the rain has completely stopped. There's no rain anymore. So this could be the perfect opportunity for the track to dry up. So we might see everyone start to use this safety car to shift to their dry set of tires. Unless it's still too early to pit for the dry tires. Let's see what... nope, Vodka Victory and Pete the Newfie both going into the pit lane. Same thing with Crispy Crunch. So it looks like this safety car from Zoom Zoom was perfectly timed for everyone. Pretty well everyone is going into the pits now to take advantage of this for a free stop to get on their dry sets of tires. You see Pete the Newfie going to the yellows, Vodka Victory going to the hards, and Crispy Crunch, Crispy Crunch staying out on the inners? Crispy Crunch has gone to a fresh set of inners. Oh no. I think Crispy Crunch has made a mistake. I think he's messed up his strategy, but so is Great Ace. Both Crispy Crunch and Great Ace coming out on fresh set of inners instead of dry tires when there's no rain anymore. Oh my goodness, huge misplay from Crunch and Great Ace. Really also receives a driver penalty for speeding under the safety car. That's going to cost him at the end of this. No one else has yet to pit under this safety car, except for the top runners and Great Ace. Really, a driver penalty for speeding under safety car. If you keep speeding under safety car, you gotta watch it right now. You really gotta watch it. Really, I was just stopping on track though. What is going on? I guess he's having some issues with the delta. This game is really stupid with the whole time delta thing. Can be extremely dumb. no one else has gone to the dries just yet. Everyone else still staying out in the inners. Like I said, Great Ace and Crispy Crunch both came out on fresh sets of inners, even though it has stopped raining. Again, I can't see the weather report, so I don't know if this was the right play. Like, does it say there's going to be more rain or something, or is this a complete misplay from Crispy Crunch and Great Ace? Because to me, it looks like it's going to dry up. So... Huh. Very interesting. So... Personally, I think that's a mistake. I think they probably messed up in the pits. That's what I'm saying. I think Crispy Crunch and Great Ace just made a huge mistake. The game did not, they did not select their proper tires. The game just sent them out on another set of inners when they should have went to the dries. Because now, especially for Vodka Victory, it might be harder for Pete the Newfie because he's on the yellows, but Vodka Victory on those hards could technically take those hards all the way to the end now, not have to pit anymore for the rest of the race if he doesn't want to. So it's going to be interesting here to see if Pete the Newfie and Vodka Victory made the right call. With pitting to the dries, no one else opted for it. We'll see. That could definitely make the difference for Vodka and Pete over Crispy Crunch. Because like we saw before the safety car, Crispy Crunch had like a 10-second gap to Vodka and Pete. But now his own teammate has caused his own downfall. I'm afraid. Zoom Zoom made several mistakes over the course of the race, but he got lucky several times. But you can only get lucky so many times before eventually it catches up with you, and I think that's what happened. He finally made a mistake where it punished him and it took him out of the race completely. So Zoom Zoom is now out, which means we have 9 drivers left on the grid. Everyone else who finishes will get points. Here we go, the safety car. Safety car is still going to stay out though for another lap. And the track is still dry, so to me it looks like Vodka and Pete made the right call, and all these other guys are going to get extremely punished and have to pit again off these inners. Huh. Now, fortunately, so in a way it's going to screw Crispy Crunch and Great Ace over, but at the same time, most of the other people are also still going to have to pit, so they're not, especially for Great Ace, not completely screwed. But it's extremely rough for Crispy Crunch because he was fighting for the win. He was in a really good position in the first third of this race to win the entire race. And now, his biggest competition, Vodka and Pete, who are just behind, have already done their pit stop for the race, are on the dry tires. Technically, the two of them don't need to pit again for the rest of the race if they don't want to. But he is going to have to do a pit stop. And so is Druply, and so is Chris, and Great Ace, and everyone else. So, it might, like I said, it might be rough for Pete on the mediums, but Vodka on the hards, this could be the perfect opportunity for Vodka Victory to take this win away from Crispy Crunch. Or Pete the Newfie, depending on how this goes. But safety car is going to be in this lap, so we are going to resume on lap 15. Almost halfway into the race now, and the weather looks like it has completely dried out, so a lot of these guys are going to have to dive into the pits. Unfortunately, they did not take the opportunity. They did not go for the free pit stop under the safety car, so they are going to lose a lot of time to Vodka and Pete. And as we can see there, yep, there we go. Great Ace is forced to pit again. He just decides to dive in now and get it out of the way. Yeah, so that was completely not intentional. Crispy Crunch is still going to stay out for now, though. He's not going to pit just yet. But here we go. Everything's back underway. Chris moving up into 4th ahead of Druply, just behind Pete the Newfie in the Red Bull now. Chris going side by side with the Red Bull, pulls ahead of Pete the Newfie up into 3rd on these 14-lap-old inners. Pete the Newfie drops down here now because he's also getting put under pressure by Druply in the Alfa Romeo. Because he's going to have to get some heat in these yellows. Same with Vodka Victor here in the hards, who's getting passed by Chris in the inners as well. Like I said, Druply, riding the curb there alongside Pete the Newfie. Going wheel to wheel, Pete the Newfie into the corner. But Druply messes up there, and now he's wheel to wheel with his teammate. Loses the battle there with Pete the Newfie. And now his teammate gets by him as well. And now he has Smoke right behind him as well to deal with. The 2 Alfa Romeos and the Red Bull going into the corner together at the same time. A huge mistake for Druply. He messes up there completely. And falls behind Slingshot and Smoke. Smoke taking great advantage of this opportunity to get ahead of both Alfa Romeos and move up into 5th. Just behind his teammate. Crispy Crunch sets an even faster lap on the inners, a 121. Still holding lead of the race on those intermediate tires. But at this point, if I'm Pete Newfie and Vodka, the track is most likely going to dry out and just get even better. So this is just the perfect opportunity for them. Druply now, like I said, still stuck behind his teammate. I wonder what's going to happen here. He's going to be able to get by him safe and sound. Well, like I said, this is going to be rough for Crispy Crunch. Like, I honestly wonder, did he intentionally mean to pit to a fresh set of inners, or did he want to go to the dries? Because Great Ace clearly wanted to go to the dries, but the game messed up his pit stop, and it didn't. And now Great Ace has been forced to pit again, and he's all the way at the back on those yellows. Like I said, that's all going to change once everyone else ahead of him pits, though. So we'll see what Great Ace can do. He could have a great undercut here on these guys. But Druply just still can't get past his teammate. He's still stuck behind Slingshot at the moment. Crispy Crunch still setting fastest laps. Pete the Newfie now, though, is right behind Vodka. But both of them have actually fallen way behind Chris, though, at the moment. But now Pete has to worry about his teammates. Smoke has actually caught up to Pete on those inners as well. There goes Druply into the pits. He's finally getting off the intermediate tires. He said, screw it, I'm getting my pit stop done. I'm going to the dries now. Well, a lot of these guys are still out on the inners. There goes Druply onto the medium tires. And here goes Smoke trying to fight Vodka Victory to get past him as well. He got past his teammate. He wants to fight Vodka Victory. He wants to get in those podium positions. Druply is going to come out of the pits now behind Great Ace. As we can see, Vodka Victory has now fallen down to 5th. He's lost the positions to both Red Bulls on these hard tires. Because like I said, the track is still super cold. He just can't get heat in these hard tires at the moment. It's really rough. Really, really rough. For the hards around this track if the track isn't warm, and it is not at the moment. Smoke now in 3rd ahead of his teammate and Vodka Victory. We'll see how this turns out. As we can see, Great Ace has gained a ton of time since he came out in the yellows, and I'm guessing that's probably what influenced Druply to finally pit, because Great Ace was like 20 seconds behind, and now he's only 13 seconds behind the McLaren AI that we had. So, Great Ace is quickly gaining. And a lot of these guys are still out on these inners, even though there hasn't been any rain for several laps now. I guess they're still not feeling super confident with the track conditions. But Crispy Crunch, you can see he's 14 seconds ahead of Chris, so you can tell that right now Crispy Crunch's biggest goal is that he's trying, he's using all the ERS at his disposal. In fact, he's almost out of ERS. You can see that Crispy Crunch is trying to create a big enough gap to where he's going to get a free pit stop, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Because, you know, he's 15 seconds behind Chris. Like, he's going to be caught up with everyone else. So this is not going to be the free win for Crispy Crunch that he thought it was. Meanwhile, Drupally is here at the back now. There goes Rilio into the pits to finally get off the intermediate tires as well. Drupally now just behind Great Ace. They both pit. They both come out on the mediums. Oh, but Drupally spins! Drupally loses control of his car there for a second. He spins like halfway. Fortunately, just good enough so that he keeps it out of the wall. DRS has now just been re-enabled. So the track is drying up. But wow, unfortunately, huge mistake for Drupally in the Alfa Romeo there. He managed to save himself from hitting the wall, but he has now lost several seconds and is completely off from Great Ace now. That sucks for him. Slingshot and the top three guys have still yet to come off the intermediates. I thought it said Rilio was gone in for a pit stop, but I guess he just went in to serve his penalty. Yeah, I thought Rilio was changing his tires, but I guess he's not. I guess he just went in to serve his drive-through penalties. And get them out of the way in case there's a safety car. Which is actually very smart from Rilio. But here goes Smoke, side by side with Chris in the Ferrari. He's managed to catch up to him now. Chris must have made some big mistake or something, once again. But Smoke is putting the pressure on the Ferrari driver. Blackstappen himself. We got 13 laps left to go in the race, and the track is just going to get drier and drier from here. But there goes Chris into the pits to get off the intermediate tires. Very smart decision from Chris in the Ferrari there. As soon as he saw that Smoke had caught up to him, he's like, okay, I got to pit now. Makes sense. And we'll see where he comes out to. Which now puts Pete Tanufi in third. He's managed to get 2.5 seconds away from Vodka Victory. With Smoke and Crispy Crunch. Crispy Crunch now has 22 seconds to the person behind him, so he could almost have a free pit stop here. So we might see Crispy Crunch dive in for the dry tires here soon as well. Possibly. We might just see him dive in. We might just see him dive in. We're gonna wait and see. The Vodka Victory. Oh, Pete losing. Not Pete, sorry. Smoke losing some time, so that Vodka is now. He's allowed Vodka Victory to catch up to him now. And like I said, Smoke still needs to do his pit stop. So does Crispy Crunch. But Crispy Crunch has a huge gap at the moment. I just want to check the lap times. Yeah, Crispy Crunch currently with a 121 flat over Pete with a 123.9. Crazy stuff. Crazy pace on those inners from Crispy Crunch. But here we go. Vodka Victory got DRS now that's been re-enabled on Smoke. That's going to allow him to get by him pretty smoothly. Pretty simple there for Vodka Victory. Still 12 laps to go. When are Smoke and Slingshot gonna do, and Crispy Crunch gonna do their pit stops? Because they all still need to pit. Whereas Rilio has instead just come out on a fresh set of inners. He still hasn't pit for the dry tires himself. See what Smoke decides to do. We do have a yellow flag in Sector 2, though. What is going on? I think Rilio actually made a mistake there. I think that's what happened there. From what I can tell. But Chris is currently 6th. But he does have a 3-second time penalty, so that is going to hurt him at the end of the race. And probably ruin his podium chances for tonight. But there goes Smoke diving into the pits there now to get off the intermediates. But Crispy Crunch and Slingshot are both, or I should say Crispy Crunch is still staying out. We'll see what Slingshot does here now. Slingshot decides to stay out again, another lap as well on the intermediate tires. But Pete the Newfie and Vodka Victory currently second and third. But Crispy Crunch has like 24 seconds to Pete the Newfie. He is absolutely flying on these intermediate tires because the track is just still, I guess the track is just still not dry enough. For Pete and Vodka to get the time and the, you know, get the temp into their tires. But there goes Crispy Crunch to do his pit stop now. Crazy enough, like, at least he's picking up the slack because unfortunately his teammate Zoom Zoom, even though he had some pace, Zoom Zoom has, like I said, DNF'd the race, so Crispy Crunch has to keep Haas on the board. Haas are currently way behind in the Constructors, so this would be a great opportunity for Haas to gain some points back into the Constructors battle as well. And it would also put Crispy Crunch back into the fight for the championship title as well, since he's already won Canada. So this will be, if he wins this will be his second win of the season with 10 laps to go. Chris sets the fastest lap of the race at the moment, though, with a 1:20.3. But Crispy Crunch, for the final 10 laps of the race, Crispy Crunch has come out on fresh softs to finish the race. And he is currently 2.5 to 3 seconds ahead of Pete the Newfie and Vodka Victory. But there goes Slingshot in, coming out of the pits now on fresh yellows to end the race as well. It's been kind of a rough race for Alfa Romeo at the moment. Both Drooply and Slingshot have been struggling a bit here. But Drooply is starting to gain some time on Smoke in the Red Bull, so perhaps Drooply will be able to gain a position here on Smoke. We'll have to wait and see what he can do. There were some yellow flags there in Sector 1. Not really sure what happened there, but, oh, must have been Vodka Victory making a mistake. Yeah, Vodka Victory loses it! Vodka Victory spins in Sector 1. Oh, no! Oh, my goodness, that's going to cost Vodka Victory so much! Because now Chris in the Ferrari is going to get past him. Oh, my goodness, he just lost so much time. We can see there, Chris and Vodka are 20 seconds behind Pete and Crunch. Well, they're 20 seconds behind Pete, and they're 25 seconds behind Crunch. That is crazy. So, wowzers. Okay, that was a huge mistake from Vodka Victory, because he had a little bit of a mistake that caused the yellow flag. I was like, why is there a yellow flag? But Vodka Victory there, loses it on turn 1. Huge loss of time for him there now. He's now dropped down to 4th. Oh, but Smoke going wheel to wheel there with Great Ace. Great Ace goes a bit wide, so Smoke moves up into 5th. Has a purple Sector 1 right now. Smoke actually doing really good on pace right now. Oh, but he goes over the curb there a little bit. Smoke messes up his line there completely. Crispy Crunch setting a new fastest lap with the 1:18 on the softs. He is absolutely flying tonight. Crispy Crunch is. But we have a little bit of a DRS train here now going with Drooply, Great Ace, and Smoke. But yeah, huge mistake for Vodka Victory. Absolutely huge mistake. Because he was set there with a pretty easy, confident podium finish. And now he's actually given up the podium position to Chris. So, yeah, not great. Yellow flag in Sector 2, though. Who has messed up now? Pete the Newfie and the Red Bull has messed up there in Sector 1. At the start of Sector 2 there. He's lost lots of time as well. What is going on? Both Pete and Vodka making huge mistakes, and Vodka Victory loses it there. Oh my goodness, Vodka Victory's race is going from bad to worse. He was going so solid, but now he's lost it twice. He's even fallen behind his teammate now. Another huge mistake from Vodka Victory has dropped him all the way down to 7th. And he's 8 seconds away from his teammate. He's super far away from everyone. Oh my goodness. Not great Vodka Victory at all. Crispy Crunch setting another fastest lap at 118.5. He's just absolutely flying on the soft right now. If we check fastest lap at the moment, a 118.5. Just like so far ahead of everyone. Not even funny. But that's absolutely crazy, like, that happened to Vodka, though. 2 mistakes like that back-to-back. And Great Ace is pitting again. What is going on for the Aston Martin team? Why is Great Ace pitting again off these yellows? He still has... Does he not think he can take these yellows? Oh, Vodka Victory is pitting as well, though. Both Aston Martins opting to finish the race on the softs at this point. They know that everyone who's behind them is way far off, so they can basically do a free pit stop. So Great Ace and Vodka Victory are both going to come out on the fresh softs to finish the race. 118.2, I guess, to at least take fastest lap away from Crispy Crunch, because he's just flying right now on those softs. But everyone's super spaced out here, it looks like, if I just check interval, though. Druply is within a second of Smoke ahead, though. But like we said, Smoke and Druply are still a bit too far off from Chris. So I guess if Chris keeps this up right now, if Chris can keep this up, he will have a podium finish here. He will finish on the podium alongside Crispy Crunch and Pete the Newfie. Great stuff to Pete the Newfie so far. Had to work himself all the way up from the bottom of the, back of the grid to second. But of course, he had that mistake there, and that cost him several seconds there, unfortunately. But here we go. Druply has managed to catch up to Smoke. They're both fairly low on ERFs. Yellow flag in Sector 2, though. Vodka Victory there, struggling again in the Aston Martin. Like I said, he's like 15 seconds behind his own teammate when he was set for an easy podium finish. But there we go. Druply actually sets a purple Sector 1 in the Alfa Romeo, but Crispy Crunch posted a new fastest lap at 117.5. He's absolutely flying! He's absolutely flying. What is this pace from Crispy Crunch? Where the hell did this come from? Currently 8/10 faster than Chris. This is absolute madness here at Barcelona. Oh, but Vodka Victory retires from the race! Vodka Victory is out of the race. But I think he's retired in the pit lane, has he? From all I can see on the map. I think he's retired by the in the pit lane, yeah. Here we go. Druply has DRS on Smoke, but he's still unable to catch him, I'm afraid. But that's going to be it. That's 2 DNFs in a row now for Vodka Victory. Oh my goodness. So why did Vodka retire? Oh, but Great Ace sets a new fastest lap at 116.8. Haha. Good stuff to the Aston Martin driver. But what happened to Vodka Victory there? Why did he retire from the race? Crispy Crunch takes it right away with 116.7. Oh my goodness. Fuck's sakes. But there he goes. Good stuff to Crispy Crunch. Yeah. But okay, we move on here now. Druply still just right behind Smoke at the moment. But absolutely crazy that Vodka Victory just opted to... Ooh, there we go. The little swip swap there. Gets past the lap car. But yeah, crazy stuff. The Vodka Victory just opted to just pull into the pit lane and retire from the race. Like, why did he do that? He still would have got some points. He still would have got a couple points for finishing the race in 8th or whatever the hell it was. 7 for 8th. Like, why? He must have had some severe damage or something. That's the... Oh, but here we go. Druply in the Alfa Romeo is really putting the moves to the Red Bull of Smoke now. Around the first couple turns, he pulls ahead of Smoke, moves himself up into 4th. Good stuff to Druply. Wicked moves from the Alfa Romeo driver. But I'm still just a bit confused as to what happened to Vodka Victory there. Why did he... The only reason he'd have to retire in the pits is if he had some severe rear wing damage that was unfixable. So I'm guessing he just decided to retire in the pits because... I don't know. I didn't see what happened. But to me, it just looked like he just gave up. We only have a couple laps left of the race now. Smoke is still keeping up with Druply though now at the moment. Chris is now 2 seconds away from Pete the Newfie. If he wants to gain the position from Pete the Newfie, he's going to have to get past Pete and then gain over 3 seconds. So it's going to be pretty tough for Chris there. But Smoke, aka Blackstappen, got DRS on Druply now. He is flying up alongside him. Woo! Moves up to the right side of the Alfa Romeo. But Druply still holds the position over him at the moment. But Great Ace takes fastest lap, just barely back. I think, is that barely back? I don't know, I'm going to check here now. Fastest lap. Yeah, just barely takes fastest lap from Crispy Crunch. Crispy Crunch goes into the pits. Crispy Crunch had a 1:16.758. Great Ace takes it from a 1:16.757. Absolutely insane. Goes up to Great Ace. That's crazy. 1,000th of a second. But Crispy Crunch is pitting again because he knows he has a free pit stop. This is crazy, man. He's had 2 free pit stops. What is this? Crispy Crunch with 2 free pit stops. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. The Alfa Romeo and the Red Bull going side by side here once again through the final sector. Into the second last corner. Smoke retakes the position from Druply. Oh my goodness. Chris is also now caught up to Pete for the last couple laps of the race. But Crispy Crunch, realizing he had a free pit stop worth of interval there, has gone for another free pit stop. And now Crispy Crunch has pitted for a second time for free. You hate to see it, honestly. It's kind of actually lame. But he goes for a second free pit stop and now has another fresh set of softs to try to take fastest lap back from Great Ace, I'm afraid. But here we go. Chris is making the moves on Pete the Newfie. And he's putting the pressure on the Red Bull. But Pete the Newfie still holding strong. Chris with 40% ERS. Pete has less, though. He only has 19. Like I said, Smoke is still ahead. Druply going into these final 2 laps. Chris is going to have DRS on Pete here now, though. He's going to look to make the move, and he flies right by him. Ooh! He uses almost all his ERS to do so, though. He has to use almost all his ERS. Both Pete and Chris almost out of DRS now, but Chris... If Chris wants to take second away from Pete, he has to close the 3-second gap on this final lap or 2. And here we go. Druply, going into the second last lap, is going to have DRS on Smoke here now. He's still a bit too far back to go for anything, though. But Great Ace is now going to have DRS on Slingshot. He's on the softs. Great Ace posts a slightly faster lap, 1:16.708. But of course, Crispy Crunch is out there, still fighting for fastest lap as well. I mean, honestly, if I were Great Ace, I might even pit on this last... I mean, I guess you can't really go for fastest lap on the last... on the last lap, can you? So unfortunately, it looks like that's off the cards for Great Ace. But... yeah, Crispy Crunch takes it right back. 113.8, man. Are you serious? That's absurd. But anyway, Great Ace still putting the pressure on Slingshot, trying to gain this position over on him for Aston Martin, considering the fact that his teammate retired from the race. DNF did not finish. So that's 2 races in a row now that Vodka Victory has not finished, unfortunately, for Aston Martin. But we have a yellow flag in Sector 3. What's going on there? It looks like Druply in the Alfa Romeo made a huge mistake there now, and has fallen way behind Smoke going into this final lap. So that's pretty rough there for him. But 5th and 6th will still be a solid finish for Alfa Romeo, but Great Ace is looking to ruin that. He's going to try to take the position away from here, from Slingshot here on the final lap. Takes the position, moves up to 6th ahead of the Alfa Romeo driver on the final lap. Oh my goodness. Coming down to the wire between these two now. Pete still keeping up the gap with Chris so that he still keeps the position over him. Unfortunately, neither of these guys can really catch Crispy Crunch right now, I'm afraid. But there we go. Crispy Crunch crosses the line. Crispy Crunch is your winner tonight in the Haas. He wins his 2nd race of the season. He won Canada and he's won this. There we go. Due to Chris's 3-second time penalty, Pete the Newfie is going to finish ahead of him. He's going to finish 2nd in the Red Bull. So good stuff to Crispy Crunch, Pete the Newfie, and Chris. That is your podium tonight. And here we have Pete the Newfie's teammate Smoke coming around the final 2 corners now. All he has to do is cross the line here in the final corner. And there he goes. Smoke finishes 4th, so that is a 2-4 finish for Red Bull. Amazing stuff to the Red Bull team. Amazing driving from Smoke tonight. 2nd in the sprint, 4th in the race. Great stuff. Really kept it up for the Red Bull team and is going to extremely help them in the Constructors now. But there we go. 5th for Druply, 6th for Great Ace. He sniped the position away from the Slingshot. Stole points away from Alfa Romeo to help relieve Aston Martin. That is now 5th, 7th finish for Alfa Romeo, 6th for Aston Martin. And ignoring the AI, that is also going to be an 8th place finish for Rilio, who stuck with it because Zoom DNF'd earlier in the race. And Vodka Victory retired in the pit lane for some reason. Again, I'm still not entirely sure why Vodka Victory decided to retire in the pit lane when he could have still secured some points for Aston Martin. All I can think of is that he might have had some irreparable damage to his rear wing and it might have been undrivable. But driver of the day goes to Pete the Newfie. Good stuff. Worked his way all the way from the back up to 2nd. Would have liked to see him start from the front and get to actually fight Crispy Crunch, but that's all you can do. Pretty clear, easy win for Crispy Crunch. Had no real competition at the front, considering how rough things went for how Pete the Newfie had to start from the back, and Pete the Newfie was really the only one who was challenging him here tonight. But good stuff, and good recovery for Chris in the Ferrari, who managed to recover from his mistakes and just barely get himself back up on the podium. Due to Vodka Victory's mistakes. Because like we said, that should have been a clear-cut podium for Vodka Victory. That should have been an easy, clear-cut podium for Vodka Victory, Crispy Crunch, Pete the Newfie, and Vodka Victory, but Vodka made mistakes, and that allowed Chris to take the podium. So, good stuff to him. And, yeah, so now we're going to get our podium in here for a quick podium interview before we end things off tonight. We're not going to be able to get Crispy Crunch because he's on PC, but we're going to get Pete the Newfie and Chris in here before we end the stream. Hello, hello. Do you get your audio included?
Sir,
Okay, I sent Chris a party invite. I don't know if he's gonna join.
he said he had to go, so I doubt it.
He said he had to go? Okay. Alrighty, Pete. Well, it sucked what happened. You had to start from the back, so unfortunately you couldn't make Crispy Crunch sweat because it seemed to me like you were the only person who was able to put any pressure on Crunch tonight. But regardless, amazing recovery, man. How did those how did those medium tires feel when you came out on them?
Oh, they were a bit really, really sketchy, man. Like, you had to be really gentle on the throttle and your brake and steering inputs. If you
Hmm.
had any sudden inputs, you were gonna go around, man. It's really
Yeah.
tough, especially in the wet conditions on dry tires. Not fun, but I made it work.
Yeah, no, it looked like to me, you and Crispy Crunch definitely deserved the 1-2 there tonight. Especially from what I saw in the sprint race, you and him were basically neck and neck in the sprint. Um, his gap though, man, he had 2 free pit stops. That's kind of crazy, but he had uh, he had 2 free pit stops. That's kind of crazy, but. He was just pulling so much time on people. He was really consistent tonight in those wet conditions, I'm guessing.
Yes, he was. I couldn't catch him at all. But in the sprint, I must say, we had very similar pace. When he got me around the outside of turn 1, coming around turn 2 there, I caught a bit of a dirty air and back of the car went off and I hit the wall. So yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I couldn't be up there with him tonight in the main race, but I'll take second place.
And hey, your
Last.
teammate got second in the sprint and fourth in the race. Good stuff to Black Stappen, aka Smoke. He really pulled his weight tonight.
Yes,
He really
was
drove
points
well, I
off for the
think.
Red Bull team.
Yeah. And what happened to Vodka Victory? Why did he retire in the pit lane? Because he still could have finished with some points for Aston Martin. So I was just really confused why he decided to just retire when there was only like 5 laps left. I don't know.
I'm not sure, man. I think he made a mistake, and I'm not sure. Yeah, I think he made a mistake, and you know,
he must have got some
he
rear wing
just retired in the
damage.
pits. He must have got wing damage or something. Must have made a mistake, and yeah, I guess I don't know.
I don't know, but that's
But that's huge for the
yeah.
championship, man.
Yeah, that's gonna work great for you for the championship, but and also for the constructors with you and Smoke. Good stuff, good stuff. But yeah, man, cause at least Crunch's teammate Zoom Zoom unfortunately DNF'd as well. But you know, it's rough. It's hard. Those are some hard conditions to drive in. At least it was only intermediates. If it was full wet, I think it might have been a whole different podium tonight. But
Absolutely. Intermediates were tricky. Very tricky.
and good stuff for Chris as well for recovering after all the the mistake he made earlier. He managed to get back up there and finish due to Vodka's mistakes. He finished on the podium.
Yeah, near the end of the race there, I actually did make a mistake at turn 5, and I did spin the car, which cost me about 10 or 12 seconds. And that's how Chris managed to pass me there.
Yeah, I saw. But...
I got very lucky.
Yeah, but good stuff to Crunch and Chris, who can't be in the party with us right now. But yeah, Pete, solid work once again. And we're off next week, but the next track coming up is Suzuka, a track I know you're a huge fan of. I know you're looking forward to that. So yeah, guys, this has been your host Sidonian Muse. We're going to be off next week, but join us 2 weeks from now on September 9th, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the 5th race of our season, which will be at Suzuka, the Japanese Grand Prix, and that should be an exciting one as well, especially if we have mixed weather condition. If we have mixed weather conditions again there, it's going to be absolutely crazy because that track is already hard enough as it is and dry. So yeah, good stuff, guys. And hopefully you'll tune in again on September 9th for the next race of our season. So thanks for joining me, Pete, and we'll see you guys on September 9th.